I'm sure we'll all sleep easier knowing you won't be sabotaging us anymore. That's how it started. No warning, no whisper. Just the CTO's voice crackling through the all-hands Zoom, tiny and smug, echoing off 1,000 home offices like a goddamn executioner reading from cue cards. Julia blinked once, twice, fingers frozen above her keyboard. The company Slack blew up in real time. Peach emojis, stunned silence. One rogue crying GIF from someone who clearly clicked too fast. Asterisk effective immediately, asterisk he went on, pretending not to smirk, asterisk Julia Edwards is no longer with the company. Legal has issued a 1-year non-compete, which she has agreed to. We appreciate her past efforts. Asterisk past efforts. Like she hadn't carried their back-end infrastructure on her back for 5 years, duct taping legacy code into something that actually worked. She wasn't the one who stayed up till 3 a.m. during the outage last Christmas while he was skiing in Aspen or whatever rich boy fantasy he'd crawled out of. And now he was stripping her name from the company wiki in front of everyone like she was a coffee intern who farted in the break room. Her video feed stayed live, stone still, unreadable. She didn't cry, didn't rage. Her face was the kind of blank that makes you worry. Like the calm right before a thunderstorm rolls in. Asterisk I'm sorry, what? Asterisk someone whispered, Honzi asterisk is this a joke? Asterisk someone else typed. The CTO didn't flinch. Asterisk we take IP protection seriously. Julia understood that when she signed her employment contract. She's had every opportunity to align with leadership decisions. Asterisk leadership. That was rich, coming from a man who once asked her how to unzip an RGZ file and then acted like she'd insulted his lineage when she did it for him. Julia slowly reached forward, clicked asterisk leave meeting star. The screen vanished into grayscale static. No goodbye, no final words, just a quiet click. She stood up from her chair in her tiny home office, the air stale and buzzing, heart thudding like it was trying to crawl up her throat. Her cat stirred on the windowsill and gave her a lazy blink, like, asterisk well, that was something. Asterisk she walked over to the bookshelf, third shelf down, behind the dead succulent and that mug she'd won for asterisk most reliable team member asterisk 3 years ago. A drawer. Technically, it was a fake drawer, hollowed out of an old filing cabinet. She popped it open. Inside, one USB thumb drive, labeled in black marker, all caps, asterisk Rudex's final V5 star. She stared at it for a moment, then slipped it into the pocket of her jeans like a coin for the ferryman. Back at the company HQ Slack, the CTO posted a final farewell message, something sterile, PR slick, probably ghostwritten by HR. Asterisk we thank Julia for her contributions and wish her all the best. Asterisk no mention of the disaster recovery protocol she designed from scratch after their database meltdown. No mention of the caching system she'd quietly rebuilt over Thanksgiving while he posted about gratitude and family. No mention of how, without Julia, things ran like a busted Roomba humping a coffee table leg. In the days that followed, her inbox filled with one kind of message, confusion laced with fear. Asterisk are you okay? Did you really sign a non-compete? What happened? What did you do? Asterisk she didn't answer any of them. The truth was, she hadn't agreed to anything. Not yet. She'd been told by legal to expect documents asterisk forthcoming star. She hadn't even seen the non-compete yet, but she knew it was coming. She knew exactly how to handle it. She opened her laptop, disconnected from the company VPN, deleted the Slack app, shut down the company-issued laptop, and shoved it, still warm, into the closet behind the laundry basket. She cracked open her personal machine, an older ThinkPad, unremarkable, scarred with old coffee stains and duct tape over the webcam, and typed one line into a private, encrypted notebook. Asterisk if they wanted a war, they should have read the fine print. Asterisk the next day, the courier showed up at her door. Manila envelope, neat signature line, prepaid return label. Inside, termination letter, NDA, and a particularly venomous 1-year non-compete agreement that looked like it had been crafted by a lawyer who thought empathy was a tax write-off. Julia read the clauses slowly, methodically. No employment with competitors, no contracting, no contribution to any product that resembles their offering in any material or strategic way. They really thought they'd buried her. She poured herself a glass of water, sat down, and started making a list. On the left, every system she'd ever touched. On the right, every commit ID tied to her name. At the bottom, 3 initials, JBE, and a date, 5 months prior. The day she'd started backing things up, just in case. There are 2 kinds of people in tech, the ones who plan 2 weeks ahead, and the ones who plan a year ahead and never let on. She'd let them think she was the former. She slid the USB drive into her private laptop and waited for the boot-up chime. Whatever he thought he'd won, it started dying the second she walked out of that Zoom room, and she knew exactly when it would be buried. The state website crashed twice before it finally let her file the claim. Julia sat hunched over her kitchen table at 2:47 a.m., bathed in the cold glow of her laptop, clicking through government forms with the mechanical deadness of someone who'd been staring into the void for too long. She hadn't slept, hadn't eaten much either, just Diet Coke and old cereal she found behind the baking soda. Filing for unemployment felt like admitting failure to a machine that didn't care. She hit submit. A spinning wheel. A line of grey text, asterisk claim pending. Employer response required. 3 days later, she got her response. Denied. Reason, asterisk termination for cause. Ineligible for benefits. Asterisk filed by HR Karen M. Julia barked a joyless laugh. Karen, of course. She clicked through the PDF. Their claim, asterisk violation of internal compliance protocols, willful disregard for leadership directives. Asterisk translated from corporate. She told the CTO his feature request would cause a security breach, and he didn't like that. Her phone buzzed. A notification from her former company's admin panel, auto-forwarded to her personal email. An old oversight. They must have forgotten. The subject, asterisk user J. Edwards access revoked. Asterisk the list was long. Confluence, Jira, GitLab, Slack, G Suite. Her email account now bounced. Even the team wiki she built from scratch was stripped of her name. Her avatar replaced with a grey default silhouette. She clicked on a commit she'd authored. Asterisk access denied. Asterisk then came the real kicker. An internal message sent to the engineering team, leaked to her via sympathetic junior dev. Asterisk please note. Julia did not contribute directly to current platform infrastructure. Any perceived ownership is misattributed. Do not engage further. Asterisk she stared at the sentence like it had physically slapped her. Asterisk did not contribute directly. Asterisk 5 years of architecture meetings, for platform rewrites, hundreds of midnight deploys, that Christmas Eve patch she shipped from her dying grandmother's hospital room, tethering Wi-Fi through her phone, and now, in the eyes of the company, she'd been digitally erased. She closed the laptop and sat there, staring at nothing. There's a silence that follows betrayal. It isn't loud. It's the kind that wraps around your throat and whispers. Asterisk you were a fool to trust them. Asterisk she didn't move for a full hour. Then she did something that surprised even herself. She opened an old spiral-bound notebook and wrote 3 words in the margin. Asterisk make them prove it. Asterisk and that's when everything began to shift. She started pulling records. Not company files, they'd scrubbed most of those, but personal backups, local commits, email receipts, architecture diagrams she'd exported before meetings. She dug through old folders, found screenshots, even sticky notes with sequence diagrams. She still had the USB drive, too. She didn't plug it in yet. Not yet. That was for later. She downloaded her entire GitHub archive, backed up her Notion pages, reconstructed her original database schema from memory. It was all there. Just enough. Not too much, but enough. Silence had turned into strategy. Later that week, she walked into a law office on the east side of town. Modest building, no-nonsense signage, receptionist who looked like she'd seen 10,000 sob stories and still had sympathy left. Asterisk Julia Edwards. Yeah, Mr. Latner will see you now. Asterisk her attorney was mid-50s, wore jeans with his blazer, and had the grizzled charm of someone who'd beaten back more than a few NDA-toting corporations. He flipped through her packet for 15 minutes, nodding occasionally, grunting once or twice. Then he leaned back. Asterisk well, first off, they're scared of you. That's what this is. Asterisk asterisk scared. Asterisk he tapped the non-compete clause with his pen. Asterisk this is overkill. This isn't standard. It's written like they think you're going to start your own company tomorrow and eat them alive. She didn't answer. He studied her face, then gave a small, amused snort. Should I be worried? Don't know yet. He nodded, like he respected that. Unfortunately, he sighed. Under current state law, this thing holds up. Barely. They'll argue you had strategic influence, privileged access to sensitive client data, etc. A judge will probably lean their way if it's a close call. Julia looked down, but he added, and this is a big but, there's legislation just passed. Doesn't go into effect until January 1st next year. And once it does, these clauses won't be enforceable against most tech workers. She looked up sharply. Wait, seriously? Dead serious. But you'd need to keep your nose clean until then. No paper trail, no leaks, no violation. You cross the line even once, they'll have you in court so fast your teeth will rattle. She nodded slowly. And if I don't cross the line? He leaned forward. Then on January 1st, they've got nothing. Her fingers curled around the strap of her bag. Thanks, she said, voice quiet but steady. That's all I needed to know. That night, she packed a duffel bag. 2 changes of clothes, toothbrush, the old ThinkPad, thumb drive still tucked into her coat pocket, and that spiral notebook, now thick with scribbled diagrams and timelines, pages dog-eared and torn. She left a note for her landlord. Gone a few days. Rent's in the mailbox. No GPS, no social media, just her and the road. She crossed the state border at 1:12 a.m. Didn't tell anyone where she was going, but she wasn't running. She was meeting someone, off-record, off-grid. Someone who owed her a favor and had a quiet little office with no sign on the door, where code and law could shake hands over black coffee and low voices. Julia didn't look back once. She'd already seen everything she needed. Julia deleted her LinkedIn at 3:07 a.m. No status update. No long goodbye. Just a click, a password, and silence. The page vanished into the digital void like she'd never existed. No endorsements, no posts about leading through uncertainty, no list of tech stack buzzwords to impress recruiters who'd never read past the second line. Just gone. Her GitHub followed, repos set to private, profile photo scrubbed, bio blanked. The last visible commit was from 6 months ago, a typo fix in a README. No fanfare. No breadcrumbs. The few people still talking about her were using past tense. Did you hear what happened to Julia? I think she left tech. I heard she moved to Europe or something. Nah. Burnout. She always seemed brittle, the CTO, of course, ate it up. Even bragged to a couple board members that the threat was neutralized. That's what he called her. A threat. What no one knew, what no one even thought to ask, was that 412 miles away, in a quiet industrial park behind a vape shop and a gym that never seemed open, something was beginning to stir. It started with an LLC. Boring name, no Twitter, no funding announcements. Just a clean registration filed in a tech-friendly state with a reputation for looking the other way. The name on the documents. Not Julia Edwards. It was Elaine Rowe, a name she'd used once in college to sign up for a Reddit AMA about women in cybersecurity because she didn't want weird DMs. Now it was her legal alias for business, complete with a new EIN, a burner phone, and a P.O. box halfway across town. Elaine didn't post. She didn't tweet. She didn't write medium think pieces or build in public. She built quietly. She built well. It wasn't a solo act, either. 2 names on the payroll. Devon and Kara. Old interns. The only 2 people she trusted anymore. They thought she was dead, too, when she first reached out. Hey, it's Jay. I can't explain. I need your help. 3 words into the NDA. Devon texted back. I'm in. Kara didn't even read the rest. Just signed and sent an octopus emoji, an old inside joke from their intern days, debugging a bug in the octopus animation engine that somehow deleted user sessions. Rules were strict: no real names, no metadata, no social media, no repo tracebacks. All commits done through rotated VPNs, and most importantly, no code resembling anything they built at the old company. Not yet. They didn't need to copy anything. Julia had the blueprints. Not in a literal sense, she wasn't that stupid, but in her head, the mistakes they made, the infrastructure they ignored, the features users begged for and never got. She wasn't building their product. She was building the version they should have made from scratch. Leaner, meaner, modular, elegant in a way only necessity can force. Their whole system was duct-taped around enterprise contracts and CTO ego. Julia's new one. It glided. Every night, they pushed new commits to encrypted containers. Every morning, they reviewed changes on a Yankee custom dashboard hosted on a $5 VPS that looked like Craigslist for hackers. It was duct tape and baling wire, but it worked. And the best part? No one saw it coming until one day, a whisper floated back into her old company's Slack like a fart in an elevator. Hey, anyone heard of this new tool, Archive? Some startup out of Vermont or something. Looks like they're building a platform that does 80% of what we do. But better. The thread went quiet. Then someone posted a link. Just a landing page, minimalist, no pricing or team bias, just a sleek tagline in black on white. We believe software should work. No mention of Julia, no fingerprints, just clean HTML and a sign-up box that didn't do anything yet. But it didn't have to. The name alone was enough to sow doubt. Archive*, the same code name Julia had used years ago in a joke repo, buried, private, forgotten. Except now it was real. Probably a coincidence, someone said. Yeah, replied another. Still, timing's weird, right? They let the conversation die. No one wanted to poke it. But the CTO noticed. He pretended not to, but he did. He bookmarked the site. Kept tabs. Every few days, he'd load it again. Still blank. Still no updates. Still that same line. We believe software should work. And far, far away, Julia sat in a dusty office with no heat, sipping gas station coffee, reviewing a pull request from Kara about improving API latency by shaving 120 milliseconds off handshake time. She smiled because they weren't building hype. They were building fear. It started with a refund request. Then 2. Then 17. By the end of the month, over 100 enterprise clients had filed complaints, ranging from minor API inconsistencies to full-blown system outages. The logs were riddled with timeouts. Data exports failed silently. Scheduled reports sent blank PDFs at midnight. One Fortune 500 company reported a phantom user creating billing profiles under defunct accounts. Their customer success team, already stretched thinner than a gas station condom, spiraled into chaos. Still, the CTO brushed it off. It's churn season. Procurement reshuffles. Happens every year. He told the product team to patch faster. If tech debt could be duct taped in sprint planning, he'd do it. When engineering leads raised alarms about the legacy features, code Julia had built, maintained, and warned them would implode if mishandled, he waved a hand. They'll be back. They always come back. He said this while polishing a slide deck for a funding round. He didn't notice that 2 of their former top clients had quietly on board with a startup no one had heard of before. A startup that didn't advertise, that didn't pitch at conferences, that didn't exist on Crunchbase. Just the name, floating like vapor in inboxes and discords across mid-level tech teams. Then, on a foggy Thursday at 2 a.m., a Medium post went live. Title, The Emperor has no redundancy. A cautionary tale in mismanaged infrastructure. Author, Basilisk_dev. It was brutal, surgical, not angry, precise. The post walked through the architecture of a large B2B platform, uncannily similar to Julia's old company. It highlighted a dependency chain collapsed between 2 services that hadn't been updated since 2018. It dissected a caching pattern that led to silent data corruption under load. It even referenced an internal system called Falcon Bridge a name that had only appeared in internal Slack threads and one drunken off-site where Julia coined it as a joke. Falcon Bridge sounds like a haunted zipline, she'd said, and the name stuck. Only 3 people had ever referred to it as that publicly, and one of them was gone. Asterisk who the hell is basilisk_dev? Asterisk someone whispered in Slack. Asterisk doesn't matter. This is bad. Asterisk the post spread like malware. CTOs forwarded it to their CIOs. Procurement managers quoted it in emails demanding status updates. Industry group chats lit up like slot machines. Internally, it seeped in through the walls, slow and invisible. But the CTO, still smug. Asterisk this is just noise. Our pipeline is strong. Asterisk he said this while support tickets doubled, while legal quietly pinged his assistant with, asterisk what is Falcon Bridge, and do we license it? Asterisk Julia read the article from a cracked phone in a bar off I-91, the kind of place with sticky booths and a jukebox that only played Sad Country or Creedence Clearwater. She'd just finished a code review. Devon had found a more efficient way to handle client-side encryption that cut load times in half. She'd promised to buy him a burger, but instead she sat alone in the corner, nursing a bourbon that tasted like wood glue, and reread the Medium piece. She didn't smile. She didn't need to. She just sipped slowly, watching the article climb Hacker News. Nobody would link her to it. Not unless they remembered the joke. Not unless they remembered her. And they didn't. Not really. She was the ghost now, and ghosts don't tweet. Across the bar, a dusty TV above the liquor shelf flickered to a local news channel. Snow expected. Traffic delays. Something about tax reform. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She let it ring twice before answering. Asterisk yeah. Asterisk a familiar voice, one of her quiet contacts, the one with connections at the State House, the one she hadn't talked to in months. He didn't waste time. Asterisk it passed. Just now. 38-12. Governor already said he's signing it. Asterisk Julia held her breath. He continued. Asterisk goes into effect January 1st. Non-compete's done, at least for tech workers. You're in the clear. Just a few more months. Asterisk the line went quiet. Then, asterisk you knew, didn't you? Asterisk Julia exhaled through her nose, watching condensation fog the bar window. Asterisk I hoped, asterisk she said. He laughed once, dry and low. Asterisk then I guess they're screwed. Asterisk she hung up. Outside, the first flakes of snow began to fall. The bourbon burned clean and steady. Inside her coat pocket, the thumb drive rested, still there, still untouched. But not for long. There was a moment, somewhere between the 4th straight night of code refactoring and the 28th review of legal language, when Julia realized what she'd built wasn't just a product. It was leverage. It had started with a skeleton, the same architectural principles she'd once pitched in conference rooms filled with execs more interested in branding colors than data integrity. But this time, she wasn't asking anyone's permission. There were no decks, no stand-ups, no asterisk let's circle back asterisk, just code, clean, fast, and hers. The product didn't even have a public name yet. Internally, they still called it asterisk archive asterisk, though it wouldn't stay that way for long. But it was ready. Built from the ground up in a parallel, modular structure, it mimicked none of the proprietary frameworks of her old company but outperformed them in almost every measurable way. Session load handling, request latency, API modularity, failover redundancy. Everywhere the old system sagged, hers glided. No bloat, no corporate theater, just precision. It was like rewriting a novel after someone else butchered the manuscript. Kara handled the front end, light and fast, with an accessibility focus Julia had always wanted but never got buy-in for. Devon rewrote the middleware using a custom pipeline they drafted on a bar napkin 6 weeks ago. And Julia, the nucleus, kept the back end tight. Data integrity, versioning, redundancy. Her domain, her language. By the first week of November, the system passed every internal stress test, scaled a test instance to 20,000 concurrent users with no degradation. Devon wept openly on Zoom. The next morning, Julia met with her attorney. It was time. They'd been quietly preparing the legal package for months. Timestamps, GIT logs, Slack exports, witness statements from ex-employees who still owed her loyalty. She had IP that predated her employment contract. Small tools, modules, functions she'd written on her own hardware before signing anything. She'd flagged the usage of those components inside the production system over a year ago, but the CTO had dismissed her concerns. You overestimate your importance, he'd said back then. She hadn't forgotten. Now, her legal team drafted an IP infringement claim, one with teeth. It called out a very specific pre-employment library she'd developed and maintained privately, which had been absorbed into the company's proprietary analytics module. She'd warned them. They used it anyway. They didn't own it. And now they'd built half their flagship product around it. By the time the legal packet was printed, indexed, and sealed for delivery, she'd already taken the next step. She brokered a deal. The target, a mid-sized underdog competitor of her former company, a firm with funding, vision, and a deep-seated hatred for the bloated monopoly her old CTO commanded. Their CEO took the meeting instantly. No pitch deck, no small talk, just a private demo and one line. If you want to own the next version of this industry, I'm handing you the keys. He watched, listened, nodded slowly, then asked the only question that mattered. When can we launch? She smiled. January 3rd. Coincides with the death of the non-compete law. He grinned like someone handed him a sniper rifle preloaded with coordinates. They signed within a week. The licensing agreement was airtight. White label rights, full rollout clearance, exclusive use in 3 verticals, and a kill switch clause Julia retained, just in case anyone got cute. Meanwhile, her old company was busy lighting its own house on fire. The CTO, oblivious, announced a new funding round. Desperation disguised as confidence. Went on TechCrunch, babbling about unprecedented growth and next-gen solutions even as engineers quietly jumped ship and client churn quietly ballooned. He gave interviews, threw buzzwords like spaghetti, posted shirtless hiking photos on Instagram with captions like building the future one summit at a time star. But behind the curtain, panic was setting in. A product lead leaked to her via Devon. They'd lost another enterprise account. The support team was drowning. Internal ticket volume had tripled. The DevOps lead walked out mid-sprint. And they didn't even know yet that Julia owned the legal equivalent of a detonator in her glove box. But they would. Soon. She wasn't just finishing code. She was drawing lines in the sand. Every decision had weight now. Every clause in the licensing contract, every version control tag, every Git log signature, it all mattered. This wasn't a passion project anymore. It was a chessboard. She was moving with purpose. Her team ran one last internal demo the night before Thanksgiving. Just the 3 of them on Zoom, faces pixelated, voices ragged from too many late nights. But when the test completed, 0.8 milliseconds faster than their last benchmark, nobody cheered. They just exhaled. It was done. Julia muted herself, turned off the camera, and leaned back in the dark. A year ago, she'd walked out of that Zoom call, humiliated and hollow. Now she held a product her old company couldn't compete with and a contract that would launch the day the law shackling her dissolved into irrelevance. She whispered to no one, "You should have buried me deeper." Then she clicked deploy star. The letter landed on the CTO's desk on a Tuesday morning, sandwiched between a venture partner follow-up and a catering invoice for a leadership offsite that never happened. Cream envelope, embossed seal, no drama, no legalese tantrum. 5 quiet pages, calm, brutal, and airtight. Subject, immediate cease and desist. Unauthorized use of proprietary software components. From Latner and Rowe, LLP, to Redacted Tech Corp, attention, Chief Technology Officer. The opening paragraph was surgical, respectful even. It cited specific modules, pre-employment timestamps, dependency graphs. One particular line, component originally authored and registered under Julia Beatrice Edwards, March 12, 2017 was underlined in blue ink, hand-initialed. At first,